Hello and welcome to this week's show of Whether or Not. I am your host, Brian Michigan, joined by our forecaster for this week's show, Michael Jablonski. So, MJ, with this weekend being the whiteout game as well as ESPN Game Day, what kind of weather looks to impact us?
Well, Brian, despite some rough patches of weather in recent days, this weekend looks to be perfect to spend outdoors. As for the details, I'll have all of that in my upcoming forecast.
Can't wait to hear it. But before we get to the forecast, we have nature in the news. This week, I'll be doing stories on the mission to bring back the woolly mammoth and the surprising tale of a murderous butterfly. What about you, MJ?
My nature and the news stories are on yet another weather record broken and a mysterious hole in the ground. We also have a feature from Jimmy, who will be talking about a new garden at the Arboretum.
But first, here is nature in the news. Whether it be from a science textbook or the movie Ice Age, I'm sure you have heard of one of our planet's most majestic beasts of the past, the woolly mammoth. These giant animals have been extinct since the end of the last ice age, but a certain company has the mission to bring back this creature. The company named Colossal, who has recently gained about $15 million in funding, has a plan to bring back thousands of woolly mammoths to Siberia. Scientists plan to edit elephant DNA to add the woolly mammoth-like features, such as dense hair and thick fat, which help keep these animals cold in Siberia. The company hopes to produce enough of the embryos in the next few years in order to create an entire population. However, there are some researchers that are skeptical of the company's ambitious goal, and if the plan does succeed, questions arise about whether it is humane to produce animals we don't quite know a lot about. These animals have the potential to forever change the ecosystems they inhabit. Some scientists argue that the animals could actually be good for the ecosystems. This is because woolly mammoths are known to typically eat moss, which currently dominate the Siberian tundras, as well as knock down trees and fertilize the ground with their waste. It is believed that this could keep the soil from melting and eroding, keeping carbon dioxide locked in the soil. Hopefully, in the coming years, we will continue to learn more about the progress of these animals and if we can one day see thousands of these beasts roaming the planet once again.
2021 has been a year of weather outliers for the US, and this summer proved to be no exception either. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration confirmed that the average temperature across the contiguous US was 74 degrees, an astounding 2.6 degrees above average. These numbers surpassed the record for the warmest summer in the US ever, which was set all the way back in 1936. Just as the infamous Dust Bowl in the Midwest helped keep conditions extreme back then, constant droughts and subsequent wildfires west of the Rockies were a key part to this year's scorching temperatures. Places such as Portland broke their all-time daily temperatures, reaching triple digits. Minneapolis and Boston also saw an unprecedented number of days where the daily high temperatures were 90 degrees or higher. Despite the above-average temps, however, this summer proved to be one of the top 10 wettest summers in the U.S., with record rainfall in places such as Mississippi, Michigan, and Massachusetts. With seemingly every month bringing new weather extremes this year, one can only wonder how the upcoming winter will play out.
Butterflies are an insect which are admired by people all over the world. These creatures are known for their beautiful colors and how they flap their wings gracefully through the air. However, there is a darker and more murderous side to some species of milkweed butterfly. Naturalists have recently witnessed several species of milkweed butterflies harassing, subduing, and even feeding on milkweed caterpillars. Scientists think that the reason they do this is to gain toxic alkaloids which butterflies commonly find in grasshoppers. However, it is shocking to see the insects doing this to their own kin. This type of behavior is a completely new discovery, so new in fact that until recently there was not even a name for it. Until now, scientists are calling it kleptopharmacophagy. The behavior was first discovered at a nature reserve in Indonesia where two friends spent hours taking photographs of the majestic butterflies. It wasn't until later, while looking at the images, that they noticed the strange behavior. Luckily, despite being violently gripped by the butterfly's sharp claws, most of the caterpillars actually survive these strange encounters. This just goes to show that even a species as beautiful and harmless as a milkweed butterfly can have some aggressive traits of their own.
Yemen is a country filled with interesting sights, but you might not expect a hole in the ground to be one of them. A small town in the eastern desert of Yemen has recently garnered attention for the unusual feature near it. The Well of Hell, as locals refer to it as, is a hole spanning 100 feet wide. The hole is believed to be at least 800 feet deep, but no one has ever been able to see the bottom. Even drones sent by researchers have been unable to fully explore this area. Adding to the mystery of the Well of Hell are the creatures which live in the hole. Only birds have ever been seen coming in and out of the hole, but the foul odors emanating from the depths imply that those birds are not alone down there. Researchers are befuddled that this place could be inhabited by any living creatures, as analysis has found there is little oxygen or ventilation in the hole. The Well of Hell in Yemen serves as an eerie reminder that nature can adapt to even the most unusual of environments.
Hello, student meteorologist Michael Jablonski here with the Central PA forecast. Pleasant weather is just around the corner, but before we can get to that, first I have to get through Friday, where you'll see that we have rain consistently throughout the Commonwealth during most of the day on Friday and into Friday evening. You see the hardest hit areas for precipitation being central Pennsylvania, but you will see some rain in the outlying corners of the state as well. For Saturday, we will see rain moving out of the northeast, but humidity from that rainstorm will stay in place. Clear skies should occur towards the later parts of the day, just in time for kickoff for the Penn State game. And for Sunday, we'll see skies stay completely clear here. The humidity will still be in place, but it should be great weather all throughout Pennsylvania. You'll see some rain down to the south in the remnants of Tropical Storm Nicholas, but that shouldn't affect Pennsylvania at all in the upcoming days. So this upcoming game will be Auburn versus Penn State. Should be a great game, whiteout game, of course. Kickoff at 7 p.m., looking to be temperatures around 72 degrees. So again, pleasant weather. Still will be a bit humid, but I think it'll be great to be outdoors during that time. And it'll be sunset as well. So looking at the day-to-day conditions, Friday we'll see a high of 78 degrees. Again, rain consistently throughout the day, but it will taper off as we go into the afternoon and evening. Will still be present on Friday night when we have lows of 64 degrees. So those temperatures about average for this time of year at night. Cannot say the same for the highs going into Saturday, where we'll have a high of 79, so well above average for this time of year. And again, that humidity will be in place, so may not be the most pleasant to be outside during the day, but it will be more bearable at night when the low drops down to 63, although little humidity will stay around. And going into Sunday, we'll have a high of 81 degrees, so again, well above average for this time of year. At least the skies will be much clearer, so great day to be outdoors. That will do it for the Central PA forecast. Now here's Jimmy Wendolek with a feature on the Arboretum.
State College, Pennsylvania is known as a bustling college town, but the Arboretum at Penn State provides an opportunity for students and local residents to get out and enjoy nature. With several different gardens and scenic walking trails, the Arboretum has captivated visitors and provided quiet spaces to study or spend time with friends. This summer, the 370-acre area grew even larger with the addition of the Pollinator and Bird Garden. Plans for the Pollinator and Bird Garden began almost a decade ago, and the area finally opened in June after being under construction since 2019. The 3-acre large garden is a bright and open space filled with the smell of over 100,000 individual plants, the sound of buzzing bees, and chirping birds. Different areas of the garden showcase various habitats found around Pennsylvania and the greater Appalachian region. This includes wetlands, woodlands, dry meadows, and a small pond. At the pond, visitors can sit on the water's edge, watching dragonflies hover above the water, and listen to a small stream. Flowers are the most common sight in the Pollinator Garden, but visitors can also find all the necessary ingredients to make a salad, with fruit trees and vegetable plants taking up one section of the garden. Several varieties of tomatoes line one walkway, with lettuce and bell peppers just a few steps away, and newly planted peach trees, among others, that are already producing small fruit. Other features include sitting areas, a small structure with a deck that has become a popular study spot for students, and a couple small tents spread throughout the garden. At first, you may think that a visitor got lost in the maze of flowers and decided to stay the night, but those tents are actually an important research tool. Called a Malaise trap, these tents help tell us what type of insects are most frequently visiting the garden, and helps us to identify any changes over time. Insects fly into the black mesh on either side of the tent. Confused, the bugs then fly upwards towards the white ceiling, believing it is a way out. Awaiting them at the top, however, is a collection bottle that can be analyzed by workers. Many different pollinators have visited the garden over its first few months, but none more than bees, and that is by design. A honeybee hive is housed in a honeycomb-shaped structure in the center of the garden, with glass panels on either side to allow people to see the bees hard at work. There are hundreds of bees in the hive tasked with helping to pollinate the plants in the garden, and these honeybees seem to love that job, with many plants in the area buzzing with bees. Additionally, solitary bee hotels can be found near one entrance, giving female wild bees a place to lay their eggs. Each year, the eggs are sealed with mud in these tubes. The eggs then hatch during the summer and young bees emerge, restarting the process. Pollinators such as bees and butterflies, which can also be found throughout the area, are just a few insects that help contribute $34 billion to U.S. agriculture annually. While pollinators are abundant throughout the garden, they are only one half of the equation. Dead trees, more commonly known as snags, have been planted to provide rest and food for many different bird species. Birds of prey such as hawks like to perch on the branches of the trees, and smaller species such as woodpeckers drill holes into the tree to find insects to snack on. These trees, along with the growing fruit trees, will provide ample spaces for the birds to live and eat in the new garden. While the main goal of the garden is to attract pollinators and birds, humans have been drawn to the area as well. So I went out and asked some visitors what they thought of the new pollinator and bird garden.
The first thing that my eye goes to when I walk in is the vegetable garden. It's probably because right now the tomatoes are high, trellised up, and then the corn in the background. It's the first thing your eye goes to.
My favorite part of the whole new section is probably the pond. I've already gone there a couple times to just either sit around it and study and read a book or just have a meeting with some of my classmates. So it's just really a nice area to hang out and talk to other people.
It's only been a couple of months, but it seems like the new garden has already created a buzz around campus. Reporting for Weather or Not, I'm Jimmy Wendolek.
Hello, student meteorologist Michael Jablonski, back at it again with the extended PA forecast. But first, giving a quick recap of the weekend. Pleasant weather will be just around the corner, but first, have to get through a relatively rainy Friday. We'll see temperatures staying in the high 70s, which will be the case for Saturday and Sunday as well. Humidity all throughout these upcoming days. But skies will clear out going into Saturday and Sunday, and you'll see that being the case for most of next week as well. We'll see very little rainfall, possibly a bit by the end of next week. For the most part, temperatures are going to stay well above average. Won't be as humid, though, so it should be a great time to be outside. Perhaps the last great week where you can spend it outside before temperatures start to cool down with the arrival of fall weather. That'll do it for the extended PA forecast. The Whiz Quiz answer will be right ahead in a moment.
Thanks, MJ. And now for the Weather Whiz Quiz question. How many millions of dollars did the private company Colossal collect in private funding? Is it A, 15, B, 25, C, 50, or D, 80?
And the correct answer is A, $15 million. And I've got to say, Brian, the idea of bringing the past back to life feels like something out of science fiction. I mean, I've never been a big zoo person, but having what would basically be a snow elephant, that just sounds adorable.
I completely agree, MJ. It certainly would be incredible to have one of our planet's ancient species roaming the planet once again. Anyways, that'll do it for Whether or Not. Be sure to join us next week, but until then, I'm Brian.
And I'm MJ. Have a great weekend.